Imagine walking into one of the most exclusive restaurants in the city, chandeliers glistening, tuxedoed waiters bustling about, and the faint sound of a grand piano filling the air. You politely ask for a table, expecting to enjoy a quiet evening. But instead, the manager gives you a long, dismissive look and says with a smirk, "We're fully booked, sir. No reservations, no table." The guests around glance up briefly before turning away, indifferent to what just happened. Now, imagine that you're Elon Musk, a name that carries more weight than any reservation ever could. Calm and composed, you smile and step aside, not uttering a word of protest. But what happens next? Well, let's just say that the manager's rude decision is about to backfire spectacularly. Stick around, because Elon Musk is about to do something no one saw coming. The soft glow of golden chandeliers bathed the dining room in a warm, almost theatrical light. Le Papillon, the city's most exclusive restaurant, was the kind of place where luxury wasn't just seen, it was felt. Velvet-lined chairs stood neatly under white tablecloths, adorned with sparkling crystal glasses and silverware polished to perfection. A faint hum of classical music swirled through the air, blending with hushed conversations and the occasional clink of cutlery. Diners dressed in tailored suits and designer gowns sipped expensive wines, their smiles reserved for those within their inner circles. T the entrance. Beneath a gleaming by reservation only sign, Gerald, the restaurant manager, stood like a gatekeeper to a kingdom of privilege. Tall and sharp-featured, his pressed suit was as crisp as his personality. His sharp eyes scanned each guest as though he were assessing their worth. If you didn't look like you belonged, if your shoes weren't polished enough, if your watch wasn't expensive enough, Gerald would know. And if he decided you were unworthy, he would make sure you felt it. This was his restaurant, as far as he was concerned, and his word was final. Just then, the doors opened with a soft chime. A man stepped in quietly. He wasn't flashy, no designer labels, no entourage. Just a simple black jacket, jeans, and a casual confidence that seemed out of place in a setting where appearances ruled the day. It was Elon Musk. He paused for a moment, taking in the grand decor as if he were scanning blueprints for a new invention. A few heads turned, some whispers breaking through the quiet murmur of the room. But most of the patrons, busy with their own conversations, hardly gave him a second glance. Musk walked up to the podium where Gerald stood, clipboard in hand, his eyes narrowing as he spotted the casually dressed figure approaching. "Good evening," Musk said, his tone polite yet calm. "Do you have a table for one?" Gerald barely looked up, his fingers still flicking through the reservation list, as though searching for a name he already knew wasn't there. His lips curled into a faint, patronizing smile. "I'm sorry, sir," Gerald said, his voice dripping with folk politeness. "We're completely booked for the evening. You'll need a reservation to dine here." Elon smiled faintly, unfazed. "Ah, I see. Any chance you can squeeze me in?" "I won't take long." Gerald's expression hardened, his smile turning smug. He glanced at Elon's plain attire, his sneakers a far cry from the sleek dress shoes worn by other guests. To Gerald, this was just another nobody trying to talk his way into his restaurant. "As I said, sir," Gerald repeated, this time slower, as if speaking to someone who didn't understand him. "We are fully booked. Guests with reservations only." A couple sitting near the entrance exchanged glances. The woman raised an eyebrow, whispering to her partner, "Isn't that Elon Musk?" Her companion frowned, squinting in disbelief. "No way. What would he be doing here?" Elon, still calm, nodded. "Fair enough. I appreciate your time." Gerald's condescending smirk widened as he stepped aside. ready to dismiss the man completely. "Have a good evening, sir," he said, with the kind of finality that suggested this conversation was over. Elon turned and walked back toward the door. But as he reached for the handle, he paused for a moment, just long enough for Gerald to notice. Musk smiled softly to himself, as if a new idea had struck him, and stepped outside without another word. Gerald watched him go, a sense of victory swelling in his chest. To him, it was just another guest he had put in his place. After all, Gerald's job wasn't just managing tables, it was guarding the restaurant's reputation. To let in someone who didn't look the part was to tarnish everything the place stood for. Little did he know, he had just made the biggest mistake of his career. Outside, Elon Musk stood still for a moment, gazing up at the glowing sign of Le Papillon with an amused look. Then, pulling his phone from his pocket, he tapped a few buttons, that faint smile still lingering on his face. Whatever Musk was planning, it was clear it was about to change everything. Gerald returned to his post, clipboard in hand, and stood taller, his chest puffed with an air of superiority. The quiet satisfaction of turning away someone who, in his mind, didn't belong brought him a sense of control. He glanced around to ensure other guests had noticed it was part of his performance. Maintaining exclusivity meant gatekeeping, and Gerald took his role seriously. But something felt odd. A ripple of whispers started to flow across the restaurant, faint at first, but growing louder, like a small breeze picking up speed. From one table to the next, curious diners leaned toward each other. "Did you see that guy just now? Looked familiar, didn't he? I swear that was Elon Musk. No way. What would he be doing here in that?" A waiter passing by, balancing a tray of champagne flutes, froze mid-step as realization washed over him. He darted over to Gerald, his voice lowered but frantic. "Gerald, you do know who that was, right?" Gerald glanced up lazily, his smug demeanor unshaken. "No. And frankly, I don't care. That was Elon Musk." The Elon Musk. The name hovered in the air like an uninvited guest. Gerald blinked, then scoffed. "Don't be ridiculous. Elon Musk wouldn't walk into my restaurant dressed like a college dropout." "I'd know." The waiter hesitated, clearly torn, but hurried off when Gerald waved him away dismissively. Gerald's certainty was unshakable. "Elon Musk, my foot," he muttered under his breath. Outside, the city hummed with energy. Elon stood just a few feet from the entrance, the glow of the restaurant's golden sign reflecting faintly on his face. He looked up at it with mild curiosity, as though studying a prototype. His lips curled into that faint smile again, calm and knowing almost too calm for someone who had just been denied a table. Pulling his phone from his pocket, Elon opened a familiar app. He thumbed a quick message, the glow of the screen lighting his face in the evening air. No one knew what he was typing, but his movements were deliberate. With a tap, he sent it off, slipping the phone back into his jacket pocket. Back inside, the whispers were now louder. A group of younger guests had pulled out their phones, scrolling furiously. One of them gasped, nudging his friend. "Look, Elon Musk just tweeted, sometimes you don't need a reservation. You just need a plan." "What does that mean?" "I don't know, but I think something big's about to happen." Gerald noticed the tension growing in the room. Patrons had begun exchanging looks, murmuring to one another, their focus no longer on their meals, but on their phones. A woman in a fur coat leaned toward her husband. What did that waiter say? Elon Musk? Surely not. Her husband shook his head, scrolling through Twitter. It's all over social media now. People are saying he's here. Something's up. Gerald's face turned red as he overheard these comments, his confidence flickering for the first time. The idea gnawed at him. Could that man really have been Elon Musk? Impossible. Gerald glanced toward the entrance, half expecting the man to return, but the doorway was empty. He shook it off, muttering, "People and their rumors." A black car rolled up quietly outside the restaurant. Elon climbed into the back seat, greeted by the calm hum of the engine. He leaned back, crossing one leg over the other. "Call my assistant," he said softly, his voice composed. Moments later, a voice crackled through the car's speaker. "Yes, Mr. Musk. I need you to make a quick arrangement," Elon said casually, as if ordering coffee. "Contact the property agent for Le Papillon's building." The assistant paused, stunned. "The restaurant? The entire building, sir." "Yes. Tell them I will make an offer, cash deal. I'd like to meet with them tonight." "Right away, Mr. Musk." Elon's faint smile lingered. He gazed out of the tinted window at the restaurant, watching as silhouettes of diners moved behind the frosted glass. The gears of his plan were now in motion. Inside Le Papillon, the tension was becoming unbearable. Waiters exchanged nervous glances, diners glanced at their watches, and Gerald pretended not to notice the sudden unease spreading through his perfectly curated kingdom. A man in a sharp suit approached the podium. He was a regular at Le Papillon, one of the restaurant's elite patrons. "Gerald," he said, his voice heavy with suspicion, "you turned away Elon Musk." Gerald stiffened. It wasn't Elon Musk. It was just a guest, without a reservation. "You better hope you're right," the man said, shaking his head. "Because if that was Musk, you've just made a huge mistake." At that moment, a waiter rushed up to Gerald, nearly tripping over himself. His face was pale. "Gerald, there's a man here to see you." "Who?" Gerald snapped, his frustration boiling over. The waiter hesitated. A representative from Tesla. He says he has urgent news." Gerald's heart dropped into his stomach. "Tesla?" "Yes. And, everyone's phones are blowing up. It's Musk. He's tweeted again." Gerald grabbed the nearest phone from a waiter's hand. On the screen was Elon Musk's latest tweet, already with hundreds of thousands of likes. "Great restaurants are about experience, not arrogance. Stay tuned." Gerald's throat went dry. His hands trembled as he set the phone down. Outside, black cars were beginning to arrive one after another. A crowd had started forming near the entrance. People with smartphones out, snapping pictures, murmuring excitedly. Gerald peered through the window, his face ghost white, as he watched the commotion building. The front door swung open again, and this time the representative from Tesla entered. He was tall, clean-cut, and exuded authority. "Who's in charge here?" he asked, briskly. Gerald stepped forward reluctantly. "That would be me. I'm Gerald." The Tesla representative regarded him coolly. "Congratulations, Gerald. You've just made tonight unforgettable for Mr. Musk. However, not for the reasons you'd hoped." Gerald blinked. "Excuse me?" The man pulled a document from his briefcase and placed it on the podium. "This building, Le Papillon, is now under negotiation for purchase by Elon Musk." The room fell silent. You could hear a pin drop. Gerald's face turned a shade of crimson as diners around the room gasped audibly. "Purchased?" Gerald stammered. "You can't be serious," the Tesla representative smirked faintly. "Dead serious. And as for you," he glanced at Gerald's trembling hands, "I'd start updating your resume." Outside, Elon Musk remained seated in his car, parked just down the block. The lights of Le Papillon glowed softly in the distance. He watched the growing chaos with quiet satisfaction, his fingers drumming idly on the armrest. A notification lit up his phone. Trending #1 on Twitter. Elon Musk teaches rude restaurant manager a lesson. Elon chuckled softly. Then, to no one in particular, he murmured, "Sometimes you don't need to shout to be heard." Inside the restaurant, the fallout had begun. Diners whispered louder now, all eyes on Gerald, whose once pristine confidence had shattered completely. A line of servers stared in disbelief, unsure of whether to continue service or flee the sinking ship. Gerald leaned heavily on the podium, his face blank with shock as he muttered under his breath, "How could this happen?" But the whispers around him grew louder. Patrons snapped pictures of the scene, updating their followers with captions like, "You won't believe what just happened to Le Papillon." Outside, the Tesla representative left the restaurant with a simple nod. Elon's phone buzzed once more. Another message appeared on his screen. Deal finalized. "Le Papillon is yours." Elon smiled faintly, his eyes gleaming with quiet triumph. Perfect. The minutes stretched on, the restaurant's atmosphere slowly transforming into an electric mix of anxiety and curiosity. Guests were growing increasingly uneasy as news of the trauma outside permeated the luxurious dining room. Gerald stood near the entrance, frozen, his mind scrambling to process the whirlwind that had just upended his world. The once confident and assertive manager now appeared out of place in the grand hall of Le Papillon. Elon Musk, on the other hand, had already moved on from the immediate scene, but his mind was far from done. As the wheels of his plan turned in the quiet of his car, a slight smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. There was no rush. He didn't need to act immediately. The best plans, his plans unfolded at their own pace. The Tesla representative had left, but Elon's message had already been sent. The energy in the air was palpable, a quiet hum of anticipation building in the city outside. And, unknown to the staff inside, something was coming. Something big. Elon sat in his car across the street, eyes fixed on Le Papillon. The restaurant's glowing lights reflected off his tinted windows, the world inside continuing with a false sense of normalcy. He took a deep breath, tapping the side of his phone, opening a new message. The words he typed were simple, but the intent was clear. Begin Phase 2. Let's make some waves. A soft ping came from his phone. The plan was in motion. Elon leaned back in his seat, his fingers once again drumming on the car's armrest, like a symphony conductor waiting for the first notes to begin. This wasn't about getting back at Gerald or making a spectacle. No, this was about making a statement, a powerful one. He had been treated like just another ordinary person. But Elon Musk was never ordinary. Inside, Gerald's worst fears were beginning to manifest. A steady stream of phone calls had flooded the restaurant's front desk, each one bearing the same message. Reservation cancellations. Patrons who had once adored Le Papillon were now questioning whether they wanted to dine at a place that had turned away someone of Musk's stature. The rumors were spreading faster than they could contain. But it wasn't just that. An unsettling email arrived in Gerald's inbox that made his stomach drop. URGANT Investor Group expressing concern about the brand. Please ensure PR manages the fallout ASAP. The email had no signature, just a logo, an unfamiliar one. A tech company that wasn't even on Gerald's radar. It was the name that held weight, however, sending a chill down his spine. Tesla. He slammed the phone down and turned to his staff, who were busy attending to the half-empty dining room. The tension was palpable. The ambience had shifted. The crystal chandeliers above now seemed cold, the opulent table settings suddenly oppressive. Gerald knew that something bigger than a mere celebrity encounter was unfolding. Something was coming for Le Papillon, and it wasn't gonna be pretty. Outside, the first subtle sign of Elon Musk's next move appeared. The flashing lights of police vehicles began to dot the streets, though they weren't there for an emergency. No, they were part of the arrangement part of Elon's plan. Officers weren't rushing in, but they were parked strategically around Le Papillon Street, a curious crowd forming in front of the restaurant, drawn by the flood of social media posts about the recent drama. Within minutes, a sleek Tesla Model X appeared, pulling up to the curb across from the restaurant. Elon, now dressed in a casual jacket, stepped out with his characteristic calm demeanor. He wasn't the man of the moment. He was the calm before the storm. With a gesture to his security team, he walked toward the front door of Le Papillon. Gerald, still standing by the podium, was startled to see Elon walking in, as if he were any other guest. He tried to regain his composure, but there was no time to. The dining room fell silent, all eyes snapping to the Tesla CEO. The whispers began once more, but this time there was no denying it. Elon was here. Elon's gaze didn't immediately land on Gerald. Instead, he scanned the room, noticing the stunned faces, the awkward atmosphere, the murmurs. He could feel the tension, like an electrical charge in the air, ready to explode. Elon stopped in the middle of the restaurant, turned toward the front desk, and gave a small wave. "Gerald," he said, his voice calm but with a certain weight that no one else could quite grasp. "I hope you're doing well." Gerald's throat tightened, and he felt the eyes of the entire room on him. It was clear to him now that Elon wasn't here for another confrontation. That was the last thing Elon needed. But something was happening, something bigger than a simple customer complaint. Musk was playing the long game. And then, just as everyone thought the tension would break, a new surprise hit. A loud ding echoed throughout the restaurant, and everyone's phones buzzed at once. From the small, discreet buzzes came an unexpected sound, the unmistakable notification of a breaking news alert. The headline flashed across screens: Elon Musk's bold move, Le Papillon's future in jeopardy. Curious eyes flickered to their screens, hearts pounding as they read the accompanying article. It was clear now that Elon Musk was taking personal action against Gerald's rude behavior, against the snub that had now gone viral. The article mentioned that, earlier in the evening, a press release from Tesla had been issued. It included a shocking announcement. Elon Musk is considering acquiring the building where Le Papillon is located. A tech revolution is on the horizon, and Musk aims to reshape the space entirely. The word acquiring hung in the air like a heavy weight. No one spoke, the silence deafening as the enormity of the move sank in. But that wasn't all. There was a twist. The press release mentioned a new venture, Elon Musk's latest project, a partnership between Tesla and a leading tech giant, would soon launch a futuristic restaurant concept designed entirely around artificial intelligence and automation. And Le Papillon, as it existed today, was the perfect candidate to undergo an ambitious overhaul. Elon's plan was simple: change everything. Gerald's face went pale as he processed the news on his phone. A high-tech dining experience. AI-powered kitchens. Smart waiters. And the entire Le Papillon brand, rebranded under Tesla's umbrella. This was no longer about a petty restaurant conflict. This was about a revolution in the way people would dine, live, and work. "Mr. Musk," Gerald began, trying to regain control of the room. I'm not sure what all this means." Elon simply smiled, eyes twinkling with quiet satisfaction. He tilted his head slightly, just enough to catch Gerald's gaze, and with a calm, almost amused tone, he replied, "Oh, don't worry, Gerald. I'll be sure to take care of everything, including the little issue of your management skills. And just as the room settled into stunned silence, another ding, this time louder than ever. T was an update to the news story. Elon Musk's grand plan revealed. Le Papillon will not only be acquired, but completely rebuilt into the world's first fully automated fine dining experience. The crowd gasped, and murmurs spread through the room like wildfire. A restaurant reimagined by Musk and Tesla, and the manager who had caused all of this, completely unaware of the storm that had just started. The next move was clear. Elon Musk wasn't just taking back control, he was going to own the future. The plot was thickening. The stage was set. The pieces were moving, and everyone knew it was only a matter of time before the climax arrived. The fallout from Gerald's actions was far from over, and Musk's plan was slowly unfolding. But what would happen next would leave everyone speechless. The next few days were a blur of chaotic headlines, media coverage, and public uproar. The world was watching, and Le Papillon was becoming the center of an unfolding spectacle, far beyond its luxurious walls. Inside the restaurant, the once opulent, calm atmosphere had vanished. Gerald could hardly process the rapid changes taking place. The press surrounding the Musk incident was growing louder with each passing hour. As expected, the reservation cancellations didn't stop, they multiplied. Loyal patrons began posting on social media about their decision to boycott Le Papillon, some out of support for Musk, others just to avoid being associated with what had become a symbol of arrogance. Word spread quickly. The high-end, exclusive restaurant, renowned for its culinary delights, had become an example of misplaced pride and poor judgment. The growing social media backlash had left the restaurant's management scrambling to save face. But nothing they did could quell the firestorm Musk had ignited. The next day, Gerald was forced to issue a public apology, but it came too late. The damage had already been done. The restaurant's website crashed under the weight of canceled bookings, and the phone lines were flooded with angry calls. Meanwhile, Elon Musk's plan continued to unfold. True to his word, Musk had taken immediate action. Within 24 hours of the announcement, Le Papillon's building was acquired by Tesla, its ownership shifting into the hands of a new team with a very different vision. The restaurant's iconic golden signage was replaced with sleek, modern Tesla branding. The exclusive dining venue, once known for its culinary prestige, was now poised to become something entirely different. A fully automated, tech-driven fine dining experience powered by Tesla's AI and cutting-edge technology. Musk's new venture, dubbed Tesla Table, was set to become the future of dining. Robots served guests, and AI designed personalized meals based on each customer's preferences, adjusting the menu in real time. A dining experience so futuristic that it seemed to exist in a different era altogether. But it wasn't just the physical transformation. The staff, too, underwent a dramatic overhaul. Some employees chose to stay, adapting to the new technologies, while others walked away in protest of the restaurant's corporate makeover. Gerald, the man who had turned away one of the world's most influential figures, was not one of those who stayed. Elon simply smiled, eyes twinkling with quiet satisfaction. He tilted his head slightly, just enough to catch Gerald's gaze, and with a calm, almost amused tone, he replied, "Oh, don't worry, Gerald. I'll be sure to take care of everything, including the little issue of your management skills." And just as the room settled into stunned silence, another ding, this time louder than ever. T was an update to the news story. Elon Musk's grand plan revealed. Le Papillon will not only be acquired, but completely rebuilt into the world's first fully automated fine dining experience. The crowd gasped, and murmurs spread through the room like wildfire. A restaurant reimagined by Musk and Tesla, and the manager who had caused all of this, completely unaware of the storm that had just started. The next move was clear. Elon Musk wasn't just taking back control, he was going to own the future. The plot was thickening. The stage was set. The pieces were moving, and everyone knew it was only a matter of time before the climax arrived. The fallout from Gerald's actions was far from over, and Musk's plan was slowly unfolding. But what would happen next would leave everyone speechless. The next few days were a blur of chaotic headlines, media coverage, and public uproar. The world was watching, and Le Papillon was becoming the center of an unfolding spectacle far beyond its luxurious walls. Inside the restaurant, the once opulent, calm atmosphere had vanished. Gerald could hardly process the rapid changes taking place. The press surrounding the Musk incident was growing louder with each passing hour. As expected, the reservation cancellations didn't stop, they multiplied. Loyal patrons began posting on social media about their decision to boycott Le Papillon, some out of support for Musk, others just to avoid being associated with what had become a symbol of arrogance. Words spread quickly. The high-end, exclusive restaurant, renowned for its culinary delights, had become an example of misplaced pride and poor judgment. The growing social media backlash had left the restaurant's management scrambling to save face. But nothing they did could quell the firestorm Musk had ignited. The next day, Gerald was forced to issue a public apology, but it came too late. The damage had already been done. The restaurant's website crashed under the weight of canceled bookings, and the phone lines were flooded with angry calls. Meanwhile, Elon Musk's plan continued to unfold. True to his word, Musk had taken immediate action. Within 24 hours of the announcement, Le Papillon's building was acquired by Tesla, its ownership shifting into the hands of a new team with a very different vision. The restaurant's iconic golden signage was replaced with sleek, modern Tesla branding. The exclusive dining venue, once known for its culinary prestige, was now poised to become something entirely different. A fully automated, tech-driven fine dining experience powered by Tesla's AI and cutting-edge technology. Musk's new venture, dubbed Tesla Table, was set to become the future of dining. Robots served guests, and AI designed personalized meals based on each customer's preferences, adjusting the menu in real time. A dining experience so futuristic that it seemed to exist in a different era altogether. But it wasn't just the physical transformation. The staff, too, underwent a dramatic overhaul. Some employees chose to stay, adapting to the new technologies, while others walked away in protest of the restaurant's corporate makeover. Gerald, the man who had turned away one of the world's most influential figures, was not one of those who stayed. Gerald's response to the fallout was one of disbelief, regret, and humility. He spent the next few days pacing around the empty, silent restaurant, trying to piece together how everything had fallen apart. The realization hit him in waves. He had let arrogance cloud his judgment. He had turned away a man whose name had changed the world, whose innovations were reshaping industries, and whose presence alone was enough to send ripples through any room. When he finally addressed his staff, it wasn't with the usual commanding authority. It was with a tone of genuine regret. "I was wrong," Gerald admitted, his voice low and fragile. "I underestimated Elon Musk. And in doing so, I made a mistake that cost us everything." The apology wasn't just directed toward his employees. It was toward the world. As the restaurant's doors closed for the final time, Gerald watched the last of the reporters file out of the building. Outside, the lights flickered one last time before being extinguished. The once thriving business had been rebranded, repurposed, and reimagined into something wholly different. Elon Musk's Tesla table would open soon, and the buzz surrounding it was undeniable. The concept had been embraced by tech enthusiasts, futurists, and those fascinated by the blend of culinary art and cutting-edge technology. But while the restaurant's future was bright, the same couldn't be said for Gerald's career. News outlets continued to report on the controversy, with every article about the restaurant now emphasizing Gerald's mishandling of the situation. In interviews, critics noted how his arrogance had led to the downfall of one of the city's most renowned fine dining establishments. Musk's actions, on the other hand, were lauded as bold, visionary, and, in many ways, poetic justice. Fallout had far-reaching consequences beyond the restaurant itself. The incident had struck a chord with the public, serving as a cautionary tale about the dangers of arrogance and the importance of humility. It resonated deeply with individuals who had felt the sting of being overlooked or judged by someone who thought themselves superior. The moral of the story was simple, yet powerful. Respect everyone you never know whose table you're turning away. Months passed, and the dust began to settle. While Musk's new venture flourished, Gerald was left with the quiet weight of his mistake. The restaurant had been sold, and he had no choice but to move on. His name had been tarnished, and it seemed there was no way to reclaim the reputation he once held so dear. He found himself standing before a mirror in his modest new office, staring at the reflection of a man who had lost everything because of a single, reckless decision. The lesson was painful, but undeniable. Then came a message, a simple one, but it carried weight. One afternoon, as Gerald scrolled through his email, a message from an unknown sender appeared at the top of his inbox. It was short, to the point, and had no subject line. I hope you've learned from this. Don't make the same mistake again. There was no signature, no sender name, but Gerald didn't need to look any further. The words were enough. Elon Musk had sent him a message, one that didn't need to be elaborate or filled with disdain. It was a reminder, a simple nudge to reflect and grow. ASF, the final credits of this story rolled. Viewers were left to reflect on the deep, resonant message. In an age where power, wealth, and influence often ruled the day, Elon Musk had shown that true greatness wasn't about tearing others down, but lifting them up, even when they least deserved it. The world of Le Papillon, once exclusive and untouchable, had fallen because of a single moment of arrogance. But Musk's bold move had reshaped not just a restaurant, but an entire industry, and in the process gave everyone a timeless lesson. Always remember who you're turning away, because the person at that table might just change your life forever.